ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum, which I know the second that I say that name, everybody's going to go, oh, gosh, what are we doing here? But ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum, former New York Jets general manager for 6 years. Remember that. So this guy has made some deals, many of them in the NFL, is trying to push the Pittsburgh Steelers to make a quarterback trade, saying that they should ship Russell Wilson to Minnesota to replace J.J. McCarthy. Quote, unfortunately for Minnesota, history is repeating itself. We go back to 2016, very unfortunate injury. Teddy Bridgewater had a catastrophic injury at practice. Sam Bradford gets traded from the Eagles to the Vikings. So to me, I think a win-win here is to trade Russell Wilson to Minnesota. I think he's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. That would leave the Pittsburgh Steelers with Justin Fields, Kyle Allen, and our fan favorite John Rice Plumlee as their quarterbacks this season. I'll say this. If the Steelers traded Russell Wilson, which everybody's going to bring up the no trade clause, there's a no trade clause in Russell Wilson's contract, blah, blah, blah. If I'm Mike Tomlin or Omar Khan and I go to Russell Wilson and I say, you have lost the starting quarterback job, Justin Fields is going to be the starter, we do have an option to trade you to Minnesota where you can compete for a starting job there, he's very clearly going to take that opportunity. He's not at 35, 36 years old going to say, you know what, I think I'm just going to give up. I'm going to roll over, and I'm going to let Justin Fields be the starter, and I'll be the backup this season. That doesn't work because you have to. You are Russell Wilson, so you have people around you, enough people who are smart enough in this industry to let you know that you are not going to surpass Justin Fields. It is much easier for Justin Fields to bench you than it is for you to bench Justin Fields this season for the Steelers because Justin Fields has development. Justin Fields is a guy that you are taking a shot on his growth, not a shot on where he is right now. So it's much easier for him to bench you, not you to bench him. He would leave to go to any team where he has a real possibility. On top of that, you're telling me that if you went to Russell Wilson and said, hey, you could go play with Kevin O'Connell, great offensive coordinator and turning out to be a decent head coach, Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the NFL, Jordan Addison, who, if healthy, looks phenomenal as a number 2, TJ Hawkinson, people forget that he's over there, and a pretty good running game and offensive line in front of you. Not a bad situation. So if you're Russell Wilson, you're taking that. The no trade clause doesn't concern me. The Steelers would not trade Russell Wilson, even if he does lose the starting job to Justin Fields. And yes, it could be a win-win where you get to go with Justin and maybe you get a 4th round or 5th round pick for Russell Wilson. I could see that. But a 4th and a 5th round pick is not worth taking a risk. And Russell Wilson, just like Justin Fields, is the guy that, worst case scenario, the Pittsburgh Steelers have somebody to rely on if it doesn't work out with their first option. Let's talk about game time. I could still taste the popcorn and the soda and smell the beer of my first Pittsburgh Steelers game. And yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars might have won that day, but I will never forget how loud Heinz Field was and how rocking that stadium was on the North Shore. Game Time has this new feature called Game Time Picks that makes things like getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I have an upcoming concert in Cleveland the day after the Pittsburgh Steelers play against the Browns, and instead of sitting there clicking on every single section, I'm just going to use Game Time Picks. Let's talk about why it's so great. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. On top of that, you get all-in pricing, which means that you get the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. On top of that, you get seat views because nobody wants to buy some nosebleed seats for cheap and take a guess on whether you're staring at a pole or you just got the greatest deal in the entire venue. Plus, the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage means that your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, low prices, guaranteed. If Justin Fields goes down, you have Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson goes down, you have Justin Fields. If Russell Wilson stinks, you have Justin Fields. If Justin Fields is so bad that you have to bench him no matter what, you have Russell Wilson. You need a backup plan. The Pittsburgh Steelers want a backup plan. That's why they added Russell Wilson in the first place. Their thought was not Russ is going to come in here and he's going to be the guy and maybe we'll get rid of Kenny Pickett immediately. Kenny wanted a trade. They made a trade. They got Justin because they understood that they wanted another option. That was the thing with Russ. They wanted another option. Russ was the best one available, which is a good one, and they made it happen. I think there's literally a 0% chance. Like, I can't stress this hard enough. 0%, it does not matter, chance that Russell Wilson or Justin Fields gets traded this offseason or this season at all, unless the Pittsburgh Steelers start 0-8 and it's over. And by the end of by the bye week, you're done and you're just making a trade because whatever you're preparing for next season. If that's not the case, which it won't be the case, 0% chance. 0% chance if we're talking realistic. Because obviously, if Minnesota comes out and they say, we'll give you a first round pick for Russell Wilson, yeah, you make a trade. But, that would never happen. And the Steelers would never trade one of their quarterbacks the way that it stands today.
Not only that, why would they want to trade Russell Wilson? I understand. Last week wasn't pretty. Are you really going to judge Russell Wilson based on 21 snaps when, as Arthur Smith said on Tuesday, there was a lot of things going wrong on that offense on Saturday, right? We can't put it on one person. He even said with the Broderick Jones first sack of the game, he said, yeah, Broderick made a few mistakes, but the other ones that everybody's putting on Broderick, there were some other things that happened in those plays as well. 21 snaps for Russell Wilson is not enough to make a judgment. And you mentioned it. The Steelers brought him in for a reason. That's not going to turn them away. The calf injury is not going to turn them away. We haven't even gotten to week 1 yet. The fact that this is thrown out there is, again, maybe Minnesota wants another quarterback. Maybe Minnesota wants an upgrade over Sam Darnold this season because they were planning on having it be J.J. McCarthy, and that's a lot of a letdown. But on the Steelers side of this, it makes 0 sense, like you mentioned, and there's 0% chance that it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just, I'm sorry. I don't mean to shut down the cool, and I know that I honestly feel like me back in the day, you bring me back 2 years ago, I'm pushing this idea, trade him to Minnesota, make it happen. I think where we sit here today, there's just nothing in my head that logically understands why that would happen, and it wouldn't happen. And I'm sorry, Minnesota might need a quarterback, but there are many more Sam Darnold stands out there than there are Russell Wilson stands. So I don't think you're going to even win the popularity battle in Minnesota if you bring in Russell Wilson. And I get that, maybe Sam Darnold's not that good. Maybe in week 2, maybe in week 3, you have a different conversation. But for right now, no. And to be honest, there are other names out there. Philadelphia's got a great third quarterback in Tanner McKee. The Tennessee Titans have this guy named Mason Rudolph who might be looking for a starting gig somewhere. Like, there are names that the Minnesota Vikings can call that aren't Russell Wilson that probably make a little bit more sense if they need to come week 2, week 3, something like that.